work is, how can you start allowing yourself to be normal? How can you allow yourself to make mistakes and say, my kid hits, yes. Now, Mom, coming to you, how can we make it that my kid hits and it's okay?
Oh, my mother has no issue with that.
Now
it's I that have the issue.
So now you discuss with your mother, Ma, could you just reassure me? I've done it pretty recently with my wife, and I asked her, just tell me these words. I trust you. You always do that. And then I just needed to hear that. I can sometimes prepare people and tell them what it is I want them to say. Then we can have the discussion. You might just want to hear the reassurance from your mother telling you, Shefla Tyra, I'll be at ease, much trouble. Your child is my grandchild, is my child. My children hit. We went through everything. It's okay. We'll survive. We'll do it. This is normal. This is healthy. You might just need to hear those words, and then you can start brainstorming together.
Okay.
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure. We are going over here. Just the technician just left the room, so you're on. What's your name? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes. You're on, and we didn't get your name. Yes, you are live, actually.
Right. I'm talking from England.
Fantastic. Can you just give me a name to call you at, but it doesn't have to be your real name?
Moshe Gross.
Excellent, Moshe Gross. Meet Mordechai Klein. Good. How you doing, sir? What is your question?
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. Thank you very much for your program. It's a big chesed.
Yes. Thank you. It's a schus. It's a chesed for others, and for me, I find it a schus to have the schus to do this. Go ahead. Let's hear your question, because we'd like to go.
I have a kesher with a bocher. It's about 19 years old. He's seen therapists, a couple of therapists for a long time already. He often feels down, moods. He suffers from social anxiety. He's very anxious when around with a group of friends. He finds it very difficult to have an aliyah or to perform in public.
So far, he sounds pretty normal. Yeah.
Sorry, it's pretty normal?
So, no, I'm saying pretty normal. I'm saying things that with therapy, Meretz Hashem, should be able to be helped, and if not, then there are other options. But this is very workable. There are issues, unfortunately, here, and I'm thinking in my brain, boy, how do I dismantle this, and how do we explain, this takes many years of therapy. But so far, good. Continue. So far, it seems something that with Siyata Dishmai is workable. At least that's what I do all day. Yes, continue.
Right. So he'd like to know whether medication is an option.
Let's take a step back. What the therapist that he went through for years, what do they say?
I think they say that they can help him, but he didn't see the help.
Okay, then they didn't help him. In order to see the help, the person, the client is the one that's got to say they see it getting better. And if he's going for years, something is wrong. These things should be seen results, as I tell people, give it the max 2 to 3 months, the most 8 to 12 sessions, and we've got to see results and things are moving, significant results. That's the most, I would say, 3 months. But consistently, that means once a week, not you show up once and then 3 months later, hi, here's my second session. And Mordechai said in 3 months we're supposed to see results. If he's gone consistently, this is classical anxiety, classic social anxiety. There should be results in 8 to 12 sessions. In fact, the classical CBT tools and the different types of therapies out there, you see a pretty quick reduction in the anxiety. It's the long-term help where you work, that I believe at least, but in the immediate results there should be. Do you know that if he went to licensed therapists?
Well, in England, I'm not sure if the setup is the
Okay.
He went to qualified therapist.
Okay, yes. Qualified. Very good.
Well,
qualified.
actually to one therapist and
Okay, yep, those are qualified. Those are very good. Yes. How long was he going?
To one, as far as I know, I think about a year, and another one for 4 months.
Okay, there definitely should have been results or changes. So I would definitely consider medication as one of the options. There, medications generally do help a lot. Now, let me ask you another question. Tell me a little about his history, and I'll tell you why. Therapy, we can give all the information, we can help someone, but if the matzav is still the same, we can't help. Which means if someone's in the house with the mother and father yelling, screaming, no shalom bayis, there's no parnasa. When I say no parnasa, I'm not talking about where we're paying bills or it's tight. We're talking about no parnasa. We're talking, if you would hear some of the horror stories that I hear, I don't take these cases because I go, it's not a one issue that you need. It's not something like that. Whoa, we lost from England. Whoops. Moshe Grace, call right back because we lost you, sir. So feel free to do that. Let's just go back. So now, when you get someone with a case where the issue is the surroundings, and many times the social anxiety that people feel people are looking at them is a symptom of what's going on inside, that there might be a huge family environment issues going on. One other issue that can be is this person can be a highly perfectionist person amongst other issues that are going on, or maybe this person has done mistakes. I have worked several times with people that, unfortunately, I don't want to use the word they've done averos, but they've done big mistakes where people laughed at them, or people know about the story and now they're embarrassed to go all over and to be seen. So many times you need to just deal with that issue and then it gets cleared. Aaron, is line 3 the Moshe that we just got disconnected? Yes. All right. So Moshe,
yes, thank you. Sorry.
You're back on. Thanks. I hit the wrong button over here. So let's go over here. So basically,
so you were saying that therapy helps after a few months. One should see improvement.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you say it can take a few years.
Now let me clarify. It depends. No, two separate issues. Symptom reductions, there should be some simple tools that will help, which means, just as an example, if he's in public and he feels like people are always looking at him, to not look around, to keep his siddur down, to keep on focusing at what he's doing, to be able to think within himself, to identify, let's say if you've got 8 sessions, you're able to identify the person's own self-esteem. What are my strengths? How can I, when I'm in public, feel my strengths? How can I realize some of the exercise you do is, do you look around at people? Yes, I do. But do you focus on them? No. Realize the same thing as those on you. When you start thinking, tell your mind, no, that's not so. There are many different tools you could do. Just simple breathing, which gets you in control of your mind. So many little tools that start helping you. Or rate it. How nervous am I? From 1 to 10 right now. I'm a 10. What can I do right now to calm me down? Maybe I step out for 2 minutes, then walk in. There are so many cognitive and behavioral tools that do symptom reductions, which are very powerful. However, healing the subconscious is where it takes a little longer work. Now, what I just said, what you weren't able to hear, and I'll just say it short, bekitzer, is that to recognize what's going on in the family. If there are major stressors in the family, many times social anxiety branch off of where the person feels safe to express his concerns with his family. And we need to know what's going on. The next thing that we also need to realize, as I said, sometimes someone might have done a certain avera, or someone has made a huge mistake where everyone heard or saw, and therefore now they're feeling embarrassed and they're feeling wrong and bad for that. And again, the point that we want to focus on and understand is that there might be underlying issues for the anxiety. And all this is going on, and the therapists have done that, then definitely I would recommend medication as part of the process, because medication really helps pretty smoothly, pretty easily. And with the SSRIs, there are practically very little side effects. And if you do it, you shouldn't be seeing or feeling any of the side effects. And if you are, you speak to the psychiatrist or the doctor, and then they change it. So there's a lot that can be done today's generation. We don't have to sit and suffer. Social anxiety in general, are Baruch Hashem very, very workable.
All right.
Yeah.
So you would recommend carry on with the same therapist or counselor?
I wouldn't. If he's gone I would sit down with a counselor and ask them, hey, he's gone 1 year to one therapist, he's 4 months to you, what's going on? I have clients and I ask them, hold me responsible, hold me accountable. Tell me, I got an issue. We're not seeing results quick enough. And I love that, because then I can sort of strike back. I can tell them, let's recognize, do you know why it's going slower? Because I need to do this and this. Are you ready for immortality? And the person goes, oh, we're waiting for me. Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. Now I realize what I got to do.
Right.
But don't just change counselors. Sit down, go with this 19-year-old boy to the counselor and say, okay, he's coming to you now for 4 months. We don't see any results. Why? And the counselor might say, well, this guy doesn't do his exercises, doesn't talk in therapy. There might be that's going on. I want to discuss his past. He doesn't want to discuss his past. When I ask him certain questions, he says, I don't want to discuss those topics. Then what do you want the therapist to do? I get that a lot. I just don't stick with those clients. I give them a choice, up and you talk or not. But many therapists, which have a belief, and I wish I would have on a certain level their patients, they say, just come for a moment, feel safe. Sometimes they do, sometimes the person doesn't. I don't have, that's my little weakness. I don't have the patience for that. I'll give you 3 sessions, staying quiet, but after that, no, my friend, open up or in or out, but I'm not holding that. But there is a mahalach that works to just give the person their space and they will open up. So I'm not questioning that therapist. However, I would definitely tell you to sit down with that therapist and discuss it. Make a discussion.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want to tell you something. The way you're helping this 19-year-old, you Tucker earned the title. So it's a pleasure speaking to you. I have a git gebencht you. Yeah, and I get yanta.
Hi.
Excellent. We are going to Dina on line 1. Dina, you're on the air with Mordechai.
Yes, hi. I first of all want to thank you for your line.
Yes.
I call going through entertainment.
Okay, very nice. I appreciate that.
It's my air out, my vacation, my whatever you want to call it.
Wow. Excellent.
Okay, I have a few...
Good. Let's just plug the number. The number to call in for those of you that would like is 718-683-5858. 718-683-5858. Looking forward to taking your questions or comments. Anything about the mental health field. Go ahead. Let's go here.
Okay, I have a few questions.
Let's limit it to 2. Just so we got more people and we've got some text I'd also like to address. So let's limit it to 2.
Okay. How do you know if you're healthy or not? Meaning,
if you're asking, you're not. A healthy person feels I'm healthy.
I'll tell you the truth. I felt I'm healthy. I started listening to you.
Okay, I didn't mean to cause doubt in people. Let's put it back. If you feel healthy, you're healthy. If you have healthy relationships, when you have most of your callers, when you calls, you go, wow, what a pleasant conversation, what an easy. When you see that there are difficulties in life and you feel you've got the tools to deal with it, while you go through stress during that, yes, you're healthy. Someone tries to shift guilt on you. Someone tries to make you feel guilty, and you know how to say, now I want to do it, now I don't want to do it. If you can say yes and you can say no, I shouldn't say easily, because that's life's work, but you're balanced with saying yes and no. You're able. Life's about the balance. If you can balance mostly, you know you're healthy.
Uh-huh.
Being that I said that, I work a lot on being balanced, and I struggle on that, so I don't know if I'm that healthy.
No, that's what made me think that I'm not healthy, because if you're going to a therapist, then...
So you want me to open up about my life and my can of worms?
No, but as I hear, you sound to me like a very healthy person, and here I got confused. So
someone once told me one of the greatest mashalim that I use all the time, and I like that, and that's how I explain to people why I go for therapy. Average car needs an oil change about every 3,000 miles. Today with the newer cars, it's now 5,000. Synthetic oils, you can go 5,000, even on a regular car, but you can go 5,000 miles. What happens if a car does 5,000 miles, or you're supposed to do it about every 3 to 5 years? What happens if it does 5,000 miles in a year? Oil change.
Uh-huh.
I am, Baruch Hashem, going 5,000 miles a month or a week to balance everything that I'm doing, for me to stay focused, just to realize that I work with kind of clients. Many of them, when they start, are very unhealthy. And when I say unhealthy, not that they are unhealthy, but they have a lot of pain behaviors. It means interacting with them is painful. And then, Baruch Hashem, as the therapy process happens, they get healthy, and then clients leave, and then we get a new group of clients. Now, clients, I know many of my clients are listening, so I don't mean to say you're unhealthy, but as you know, a lot of our interactions, a lot of assertiveness I need to use, a lot of boundaries has to be put into place, and while it's hard for you, it's equally hard on me. So I chose to go into a field where it's highly rewarding. The schar in Olam Haba is unbelievable. Me, myself, that's where I feel Hashem has given me an amazing bracha there, and I love it. However, every business that you'll speak to any person in their business has its hardships. My hardships is that I deal with some people that are in pain.
Mm-hmm.
I need to clear out my car. I need therapy. I go for therapy. Many times it's about clients. Many times it's about my life. I'm having some difficult clients. It will then affect my marriage. It will affect me, my parenting skills. It will affect more than that. It will affect me myself.
Mm-hmm.
And by
like
me,
if you wouldn't have this job, then you would. Okay, forget it.
No, I will say that, you can ask if I wouldn't have this job, will I be in therapy? Me, myself, I would be. Because my nature is part of my addiction that I'm working on is to break out of my going 5,000 miles a month. I'm trying to now divide it over a year.
Mm-hmm.
So part of my goal, so if anyone moves, yes, they're in therapy or they're going to coaching or they have a team of support system helping them out. But for people that are at a healthy pace where they're comfortable in their zone, then it's okay. I go out of the zone. I break my old record very, very often, Baruch Hashem. Mm-hmm. So in order to keep up at that speed, I got to be able to work on myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, my question is like this. I have a son. He's going into Kita High. He was being bullied a lot this year. Basically, 3/4 of the class was like fighting.
Tell me a drop about your son before we go into bully. Is your son a leader? Is your son someone...
He was a leader, and this year they saw...
So can we rephrase it? If he was bullied, maybe there is now a rebellion going on?
Yes, something
Good.
like
So
that.
let's not call it bullying.
Okay.
Calls it bullying, saying, we need to identify issues here.
Okay.
Bullied is when there's a nice, quiet boy, or not quiet, but a nice boy that's doing his regular stuff, and 2-3 kids that are in pain say, who's a guy that we could pick on just because we're in pain and we want to make his life pain. However,
I know that the leader that's against him is going through a hard time, like one of his siblings.
Well, that's not the issue,
sick.
but let's not go if they're going through a hard time or not. Kids might not know how to assert their leadership in a class, and your son might be equally responsible. Just like the other kid, if we would speak to that guy's mother, they might say that your son is the bully, and the other boys came to protect themselves. My point is, it's not a bullying issue.
Okay,
my point is, how do you deal with in the class?
No, my question is that I spoke to them now, and he's okay with that I should take him out from this class and put him into a different class.
Wow, that's usually the last resort.
I know, because he feels that it's basically a whole class of leaders, but the question is like this.
How old is your son again?
He's turning 9.
Funny, I would not have done that. I would take an entirely different view to this approach.
I would split the class, but...
I wouldn't do that either. No, we're not dealing with the issue here. The issue over here is there's a class full of leaders, and we are making one of the greatest mistakes in the world that we are calling leaders, and we're creating a generation that leaders mean akshanim. Leaders mean I don't feel for anyone and I don't care about other ones. Leaders mean all I care about is myself. And if we look at what leadership means, Gedolim in our Klal Yisrael, not the Goyish world. The Goyish world, they value strength. The Goyish world, they value who's the strongest with the sword. They value who's got the most Goyish world. That's not Yiddishkeit. The strength, Klal Yisrael, we've got a different value of leadership. Leadership is giving. Leadership is following at times. Leadership is when you want to do something and Gedolim or your Rav tells you don't and you don't do it. That's leadership. Leadership is being able to spend the years that it takes to let the Rabbeinu Shleim do things. Imagine Moshe Rabbeinu, and we've got stories when the Yalkut Shmoni brings down how long it took the Manig of Klaisel, what he had to go through. What I feel your son is missing, and this is from what I hear you say, so again, I don't know your son is, no one ever taught him how to follow. How can you be a leader if you don't follow? How do you expect others to follow you if you don't know what it means to follow? And that's why the Rebbeinu Shalom is given at all times, even if you're a husband and a wife, one is giving and somewhere else you got to take. So the husband might be more in charge of Inyan Rachnias, but the wife is the one in charge of the Inyan Gashmias, of suffers and all that stuff, taking care of the kids. And part of what we got to learn, the beauty of marriage, is each one learns how we have two leaders working together. Now, if your son can't give in, the amount, again, he's young, so I'm not labeling him. I'm doing for awareness. The amount of teenagers that I see that their concept of leadership is what you've described, and if a class can't work it out, we divide the class or we change the classes, we've defeated the purpose of chinuch. Chinuch is you want to
No,
get
but the rabbi didn't manage him. Like
we'll get there. So now it's a separate issue that the Rebbe doesn't know how to manage a class full of leaders. First, giving you the information.
I understand.
So I just want you to realize the first suggestion is actually to teach your son now, how can he learn to just bend his head a little? Stop fighting. How many times?
Stopped. He's by now under the table.
No. We're not talking about from a weak self-esteem. We're not talking about a fear.
Okay, so now I have to build his self-esteem back up.
Let's slow down. How many times have you told your husband, yes, it's okay, when you felt you were right, and you knew your husband calmed down, and your husband changed, and he says, you know something, I think I'm going to give, I know in my marriage I do that a lot.
Usually the opposite.
What?
It's usually.
Okay, how many times do you give in? Not usually. Do you understand? Do you ever realize that sometimes you know something, you'll just give in?
You're right.
And then the person or an hour later says, you know something? I think I was wrong. Let me ask, let's be now more blunt. Is it something that you need to learn this lesson first? Teach it to your kid?
I learned it by now.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two options for me. Either this class is getting next year a fantastic Rebbe, or I take him out from this class to not such a good. There's like a few classes, but none of the Rebbes are going to be good for him, except for another one. But also not the greatest as the class is getting. The class is getting now a top Rebbe.
Yes.
So my question is, do I let him stay in this class with the excellent Rebbe, or do I take him out and let him year, but not with such a good Rebbe?
I will tell you first my opinion about the question is it's always about the class and about friends. If you have an okay Rebbe and a great class, the person will be successful. If you have a very good Rebbe and you don't have a good class, the kid might be good, but you got to hang around friends, it'll knock him down. So I'm a very big believer in both. So if you're talking about a good Rebbe and a great Rebbe, we're not talking about a bad Rebbe. If you tell me he's a bad Rebbe and a good class, it'll be much harder.
I don't know how good he is because he's just 1 year, but he had a very successful year.
Then that's called good. The first year is the hardest of all.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So I would call him a good Rebbe. I would consider that a good Rebbe. And if you have a good class in that, however, I still don't hear we addressing the main issue of your...
me teaching my child.
You teaching your son. How can he be in a class full of leaders? How can he be in a class full of leaders and learn to give in? That if someone says something, he could say, you know something, I'll do it your way. I'll learn how to work out, not giving in, saying, I will teach you, I will give in this time for recess, we'll play this game. But next recess, I want us to play my game. We got to start teaching them to learn, and that's something that's really the Melamed and the school's job, to do some exercises. Every day, there's a different person that picks the school. There are ways to break bullying and those circles. There are a lot of exercises. Since we have some Melamed doing, what is it number? Is the number working? We'll try it. Cool. I'm just seeing, we just got a message on my phone line that's not working. I just want to check it out, and then we'll work on it, get it clear. Technical issues. We got a lot going on over here all at one time. But again, let's just give some of them for the yeshiva system. One of them is make different kids a leader every single day. Next thing is give different homeworks or exercises the class should do between the boys, like groups of 3, 4, and all rate the boys.
I'll tell you to which extent it went. That the Rebbe saw that like the whole class is basically against him. So he said, you know what? He has a beautiful hand, and he's going to write on the sick arts and crafts.
Yeah.
And one boy said, no, I don't want you should touch my paper. And basically another 4 or 5 boys.
Okay, this is classical behavioral control of a class. So we can't teach a Melamed that unless they know how to do it or that.
Right. So I see it's not working this way. Like.
Very good. Then I got you. Very good.
So I should put him into the...
I can't say should because I don't know about it. It definitely sounds the way. If he's going to continue another year like this without an experienced Melamed that will deal with it, then yes, remaining, or even the next year, like there needs to be someone that will teach it. This is a symptom that unfortunately raising kids like that is a terrible generation that we're going to be having. When we say derech eretz kadma l'Torah, and when we're referring to, really it's talking about parnasa, refer to the emotional part that all the Baal Musar speak about. This is what we're talking about. This is the derech eretz. This is the menschlichkeit.
I feel that he's still young. He's going to outgrow it. Like
that's right. No, not to, we only outgrow things if we teach. Outgrown if it's not taught. No, I personally disagree with that. That's why I believe we're having such big issues this generation.
Well, my husband was telling me that when he was a boy, like the boys who were the leaders weren't the leaders later on. Like it changes. Like whoever is the good boy
Let's
and
rephrase
learns the
that.
best,
Let's
he
rephrase
becomes...
that. The boys that are dysfunctional leaders and use bullying skills and hurt people, they do not succeed. I know in my class, I met a friend of mine a year ago. He said, look at those 5, 6 quote-unquote leaders. They are nowhere in life. And that's because they were too tough, because they didn't listen. And in bullying tactics in the class, if the Malamdim aren't aware of it, it gets... But in life, you say, I don't want to work with such a person. You have choices. In a class, you don't have choices. That many choices. And that's the benefit of that. However, your son still needs to learn how to deal with it.
Okay, so he's starting to learn. Like he saw what happened.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate you calling in and for the awareness and for the information.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure. We are going to Miriam. Miriam on line 2. You're on the air with Mordechai.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to tell you thank you for the books. You told me last time, I asked about, I don't know exactly, codependence, criticism, whatever it was. And you told me let's Miriam Adahan books.
Yes.
Took awareness. And
that's a great book.
And it's amazing. It's really...
Which numbers are you? Which natures did you find yourself in?
I think 4 and 2.
4 and 2. I can't give out all my... There's so much going on, but yeah, that book's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
So you're calling to say that the book helped you by reading the book on awareness helped you?
Yeah, because now I understand myself and understand also other people's natures. I didn't understand why another person should say something, and I got hurt from anything. Now I understand that I'm different from a lot of people. I am different. And people, it's hard to relate to a lot of people, and I have to understand that.
You know, I'll tell you, in my book that Meretz Hashem will be coming out on Pesach, I've got an entire chapter, and there in the awareness book is 9 natures. I've got 18 natures. 18 natures, and you'll be able to see it a lot more where you are. Over there, it's very short, and I've got a goal, Meretz Hashem. We're not going to share that, but it'll be a lot more in detail, or we're already spilling the beans, but Meretz Hashem. But I've gotten 18 natures that I've divided them into peoples, and I have 16 in my share. I got the program 48 and 49, and when I wrote it in the book, I've added on 2 more, introverted and extroverted, someone that just needs everything loud and someone that's just everything quiet. So I find them also natures I'm dealing with a lot, so I enter them. So I've got 18 natures.
Are most people on the outside and not on the inside? I'm just wondering.
Isn't that, since that's your nature, how you view the whole world? And since I'm more the inside person, not the outside person, I see most of the world inside and not outside.
No, I'm an inside person.
Oh.
But I see most of the world is outside. Basically, or it's a system that everybody has to be outside. I don't know.
Or we just look at everyone that way, and when we speak to them one-on-one, it was amazing. I'm not going to go say what, but basically, everyone, we had 4 or 5 different people from different kahilas, and each one was saying the problem, and then each one said, you know something? After I hear yours, I'll stick with mine. And the concept is that when we look at the kahila from the outside, each one says, wow, look how great that kahila is. But once each one hears, okay, so that's your problem, your kahila. Okay, this is my problem, my kahila. You know something? If there's going to be a problem, I might as well deal with the one in my society.
I see.
So while you're making assumptions about others, when I'm in the therapist's chair, it's amazing how I see everyone's got the same issue. Just the different natures will go about therapy the different ways, and also the type of therapy will be different for the different natures. I find that many times my therapy, that's why therapy to me isn't a cookie cutter situation, because you need to
know the natures first.
That's right. Individualize it and speak to the nature. Make sure the information gets through to the nature rather than just the system.
All right. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate the calling in. The number is 718-683-5858, 718-683-5858. Let's go over here to 1 or 2 of the questions that we've got. First of all, this person called in from about 11:30, sent a message, I should say, about Chassidish boys, younger light, that are all working with teens at risk. I'm not sure what you want. You wrote it too short. I have no idea if there's a question, if this is a comment. So instead of texting it 3 times, please give me more information. You know who I'm referring to. So don't repeat the same text 3 times. Rather, give me more information so I can understand, and then I can try to help you out to take care of that. Now we got over here. I'm a year-old. Wait, I want to go to the one about medication. Also, again, the number to call in, 718-298, 683-5850, 718-6858. Where is the question? Here it goes. I'm on medication, and I consider myself pretty normal. It really bothers me when people make fun of medication, like telling their friends as a joke, oh, someone forgot to take their meds, or, oh no, you didn't take your pills, like as if people who take it are crazy. It bothers me because comments like that are very insensitive, because you never know if the person next to you is on meds or not. Also, it can prevent people from taking meds, cause, oh, only crazy people take it. How can I react when I hear such comments? Don't want girls to know I'm on it. I'm talking about older girls. 8 much for all you do for Klal Yisrael. Great nachas to Hashem. Wow, thank you. So I'd like to divide this question into 2 components. The first component is, and we'll do the first one first. Rishon, Achar. I usually like taking the last one first somehow, but let's go with the first one. How do you deal with it when people make comments about that? Number 1, we are sensitive to issues. Means, because you might feel that that is your issue, you're taking sensitive to that comment. But what about other comments that people say? Like, oh, that person is so tall, or that person is so short, or that person is too skinny, or that person is too fat, or that person looks wealthy, or that person looks poor. Each of those are comments that people make. So if you would actually, on a neutral base, just listen to comments that you hear a day, just write them down, comments, you're going to notice how every society gets attacked. Every population gets attacked. Now, when we're sensitive, all of a sudden our radar is turned on. Therefore, now we're attacking people for offending our system. Therefore, what we try to do is we want to focus on, let's speak positive. Let's stop talking about negative. Oh, someone forgot to take the pills, and just going, someone's angry. Identify the emotion. Or what can we do when that person gets nervous instead of a joke? Also, sometimes jokes are a way of dealing with it instead of dealing with it head on. So you don't want to hurt someone, but you want to hint that they might need help. Make comments. Well, comments are comments, they still hurt. Let's go to the next part about that it will prevent people from taking medication. I agree with you. So spend 3, 4, and 5 sessions with people just to create the awareness that medication does not mean you're crazy. In fact, medication means you're normal. I should say specifically specific types. The classical ones that everyone's taking, the Prozac, Zoloft, the SSRIs, are for the normal, healthy people. Means if you got anxiety, if you got OCD, if you got depression, that's what you're taking those for. They're for the normal, healthy people. It doesn't help those that are more extreme. And those people, quote unquote, call us crazy. I don't call them crazy because I see what the therapy is needed, and I see the medication that's needed, and even that is changing. But in the past, in the 1950s and 60s, the only medication they had was, quote unquote, for the crazy people that would scream in the streets, that were psychotic, where they think that they're a Mashiach, which even with a good medication you can help. That's not crazy anymore. But since there was no help, we called it crazy. Now that there's help, the definition of crazy is, I believe, going to be removed from the dictionary probably 50 years from now if Mashiach doesn't come. It's just going to be how we work on it. It's going to be normal. Just like we got now speech therapists coming in, and you got occupational therapists coming in, and you've got shadows, and social workers are starting schools, but it's going to be normal to have a social worker with the kids that are needing it. It's going to be normal for the Rebbeim to be able to have a behavioral therapist to teach them and to guide them how to deal with behavioral issues that's coming up in class, as we're dealing, as the last caller had. Why shouldn't this Malamed have the tools how to deal with it? It's not that complicated, or it might be complicated, and then we might need to get a social worker, then bring in 2, 3 colleagues to brainstorm how to work on it together. There's a lot the principal can do. There are a lot of games that you can put into the system. There's a lot that can be done. Team building is a very common task out there. Companies do that. In fact, I know some of the biggest accounting firms in the world. Ernst & Young is one of the biggest ones that people go to. A lot of firm people work there. And they have like 2-3 day trainings where they have these huge centers where they have hundreds of people, because these companies, they can have 500-600 employees, thousands of employees being hired at one shot. So they want to build a team effort. And they've got these that come in and they try and they build a team effort. Understand, we are one company. We can't have 50, 60,000 accountants and each working for the same company, each one being individual. We need to get a team-based. And they pay millions of dollars for these trainings. So I just want to understand there are systems out there. And yeshivas and schools, Mitzvah, will be having it in the near future. And that's, again, what we need to thank this Medina of Chesed, this country, America, how much the government is paying. Yes, people say from our taxes, but let's not go there. Other countries are using the taxes for other stuff, giving it to our children's therapy if it's needed. We really are in a comfortable, safe, loving place, as Rav Moshe calls it, of Medina of Chesed. So thank you for that question and for that comment. So again, about the first part, get tougher, work on your issue, that not to feel bad that you take medication, you're doing healthy. And on the second level, about the awareness, yes, that's a large part of this program, to create the awareness. Medication are for healthy people. If you need it, you could be on it and you can get off it. And if you need the more serious stuff, there are medications. Live your life. Be as productive as you could be. Don't hold it in. Thank you. We are going to Ellie. Ellie, you're on the air with Mordechai.
Hi, thank you. I really want to thank you for your amazing show and all the things you're doing. You do know who I am, because I have been in contact with you once. I'm known as the Midnightrabbi publicly, which means basically I've been working with kids on the street, etc., and other programs.
Hold on. So
but I'm finding a big struggle this time of year.
Good. I don't know if I could use those words, but I fell in love with you, with your website, my friend. Midnightrabbi. Yeah. Go ahead. Share with people a little who you are. You've chatted with me once or twice. So, I've seen your website.
Basically, I've been working for many, many years with kids and special, Bochum and the Shamalach, and they all need a lot of, inspiration and chizuk, and, we all do now. And me personally, right now, in Eretz Yisrael, it's been, a difficult kufa for. And I want to really get, from a therapist point of view, how do we inspire others, including myself, to have simcha in our life, and in a therapy way, how do we, if we haven't learned to be a professional therapist like yourself, but how do we as an individual take the best points out of it, so we can really help, for example, our students or our family, or even, right now this is an opportunity to really inspire the world with simcha. How do we bring that down so we can really make this year a very positive year instead of the more difficult year that we've all gone through?
So I'm going to tell you a secret in therapy that we can share it all over. And the biggest secret that I know of a therapist, the biggest secret of all, none of them are the skills that I've learned. None of them are the tools that I've learned. And that's something that you've got in abundance. And that is love in your heart. There's the famous saying that I've said many times. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I've said that many times. People don't care how much you know. It doesn't matter how good of a therapist I could be. If I can't love the person, if I can't connect to them, be with them, and they should really feel that I care, I could not help them at all. Now, one of the modalities that I subconscious, cognitive behavioral tools, but all those are tools. The real system is always the heart caring, and then whatever you do works out. However, you might need some more successful tools. That's something else. But it's coming now, Yontiv. If I would show you the amount of messages that I'm getting now, well, let me just read one or two of them similar to that. I'm a 23-year-old bacha. I'm going home for Sukkot. How can I be happy for 8 days of Zman dysfunctional home? Let's look at this one. I'm going to be coming home. I come from here. How can you ask your parents that you would like them to go for therapy, knowing that it's going to hurt them if you ask? There's a lot of stress at home, and feel that's the point that therapy is needed. I'm 16 years old. So many people are going through pain, and they just need someone to speak to. And when I went on your website and I saw the stuff that you do, Midnightrabbi, and when you called in, also the first time when you called in, and at midnight is when so many of these guys that are out on the street, and all they're asking for is a little place of love. I was by my in-laws last year. I think it was Sukkot, and someone told me, the guy asked me not to say his name, so I won't say his name, but a regular unassuming person in shul, someone tells me, do you know that he has every Friday night at 12 o'clock, boys come over to his house? And I figured I'm just going to go in there. There are only 2 boys. And that's very, very impressive. And at around 1:30, when I wanted to leave, all of a sudden 7 boys moved in, walked in. They were from Avenue R in Flatbush. They were coming in, let's say, to, let's call it to the beginning of Borough Park, to this person's house. And I asked, why are you guys coming? He says, we just wanted somewhere to go. We knew there'll be food, and we know we can talk. and it's the person's heart that's there, and they contact him throughout the week, they talk to him, it's the caring. I can't do that. If I spend my energy and my koiches on therapy, I cannot be up at 1:30 starting then to talk to 6, 7 boys. But what these guys need is someone that could spend hours with them that a therapist is not supposed to do and can't do that role. We need an entire team helping Klal Yisrael. You, Midnightrabbi, don't. I mean,
personally, I need more support. I feel from the people out there to make this more reality, that we can really access people more. But personally, I'm not living in Yerushalayim anymore, and I'm not able to access as much as I would like the students, etc., etc. And it's a lot to do with there's a certain cutness in terms of the success of yeshivas right now because of all different factors. And I feel there needs to be much more chizuk in this area from everybody in class to really not just fund it, but also be, like you're saying, like I try to be and have tried to be available for people. Now I have to resort to a lot more online stuff, but that for me is b'diavad. I'd much rather be much more personal and online, to be in front of them, not online on the computer, but in front of them in person, one to one. This is the most
that's what they need.
They
need that connection. They need to see the person. And again, a therapist is not allowed to do this, or not. I shouldn't say not allowed to. Many therapists don't, but sometimes they need that physical hug. I'm talking about appropriate now. I'm just saying that. But many times, when you look at these quote unquote teens at risk, they're hugging each other. There's looking for someone just to tap them on the back, put the hand on the shoulder. Again, appropriate, nowhere lower than their shoulders, but the shoulder level. But it's just a concept that's needed. And I agree with you. And Klal Yisrael, there are so much out there, and because it's not organized, it's hard to do.
In Eretz Yisrael, it definitely needs much more chizuk. I'm here right now and seeing a big downward effort going on, not upward, which is very upsetting and very heartbreaking for me. And as much as there's pain
I'm sad that
out there
Klal
on the front
Yisrael
in the
lost you
wars,
as a front
there's
line.
also pain in terms of the ability to really to be there for the kids, especially because even if, for example, when I was teaching classes in this generation, the kids are so into the iPhones and into distractions, to be able to actually access them truly, it takes a tremendous effort, and it needs the time and it needs the devotion. To really access them, to really, like you're saying, have the heart-to-heart, that's what's going to open them up and help them. I don't know if the powerful speakers that are doing great things are able to do it as much as we really need right now.
Let's rephrase that. If that's not their job. Those powerful speakers are empowered to start doing our steps. We need midnight rabbis that when these boys are in the street, to have the person that they could go to 12 o'clock at night for 6 months till we can turn them around to have normal schedule that 12 o'clock is when they go to sleep instead of waking up. And we need people like you on the front line. I'm saddened. For me, it's a tragedy because I always had like somewhere back in my mind knowing there are like people like you. And as I spoke to you 6 months ago, if you don't take care of yourself financially and other stuff, unfortunately, it will throw you out. And that's the sad part. We have so many great people like you. It's a tragedy, in my opinion, that Rabbi Midnightrabbi.
Can we just turn it around somehow? Is there? Other than davening to Hashem and being sympathetic,
I will be honest with you. I do believe
what can we do to really?
I do have a way, but I do have a way.
Is
I'm going to say a way, but I know people are going to be very upset at me, but I'll say it anyhow because I found that way is something that works with me. And that is, it needs to be balanced financially as well. Means if you take a kid out 12 o'clock at night from 12 to 2, 12 to 3, you need to tell the parents this is a reality. Or speak to the yeshivas. Reality is that I need to speak to the parents and I need to get $200 or $300 a week. That's not a lot because when a therapist takes $175 an hour and you're spending 2-3 hours, but you could spend time with 2-3 kids at a time. So if you're also getting $700, $800 or $1,000 a week in it's enough to make it. And for these parents to know that their kid is not on the streets or they're speaking at someone healthy and they will take your time. If you have just 5 people paying you that a week, that's $1,500. It's enough to give your wife in Eretz Yisrael again. In America, it's very tight, but in Eretz Yisrael, it's more comfortable. But you need to be confident.
We can live off very little here. There's a certain
That's right.
But is all about.
Let me ask you: had you been getting from a parent that you spent with the kids, let's say 15 to 16 hours a week? I'm not talking about minutes. I'm talking about 15 hours. You tell me, how many kids did you spend 15 hours a week with for months at a time?
It's in the hundreds over the
Good.
last
Now
10
let's
years,
take the next step. Now, to all you parents that are listening when we're complaining, how much did those parents ever pay you or give you, for, let's say...
Come out nothing.
Come out nothing. Exactly. Now, parents, let's wake up.
It maybe was a few very special people paid for a kiddish one time or something. You know, they did
a kiddish that you lay out. Exactly.
Kindness. Someone brought me to meet the covered Yom Tov one time.
Thank you.
And all those things were tremendously appreciated.
Of course.
Talking money terms, they disappeared, you know. And I rarely
this is
did
what
that.
I learned.
I never really asked
this
money
is what
once.
I learned in the therapy process. That is, so many people, but look at you now. You're off the front lines. Instead of helping hundreds, if you could have started, now not if, I wonder if it's still possible to do, if you can speak to some of those parents, and you tell the kid, I need to speak to your parent, we need to get, and tell the parent, this is reality. Your son is now hanging around. I am willing to give him 15 hours a week. But what I need is $300 a week for 15 hours a week, and there must be a commitment of 7-8 weeks at a time. Every 8 weeks, you'll pay in advance, or I'll do the first 2 weeks. Your son commits to it. He hangs around me. Now, if you've got 10 such parents a week giving you $300, now make the cheshbon 10 parents, $300 a week. That's $3,000 a week. How many? No, I'm talking about a week. $300 a week. You're spending 50. His kid a week, and you're going to have 3 kids together. They're together. Let's just, and I'm not talking about that you should become wealthy. I just want you to realize the concept. How much more energy would you have to give for your wife and kids, saying here that when you're up, when your hours of functioning are from 10 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning, and you're going to have to learn with your kids sometime, how much easier is your shalom bayis, your energy for yourself? How many more kids would be helped?
It'd be tremendous.
That's right.
I can't imagine, personally, what I'd like to do with the money is help build a center that these people have
Rabbi, Midnight Rabbi, I need to stop that. We are going to first teach you. First step is take care of yourself and your family. The minute you do that, you can help people. I almost left the business several years ago, and I use the word business because part of me needs to view therapy as a business. If I view it as a chesed as you did, I was almost thrown out. I thank Hashem that I was able to view. There's a time when I do chesed, I don't want to say 100%, 99.9% pure. And there are times that I'm helping people with a financial basis, knowing that myself and my family, I can help so many more people. Imagine me being a lawyer because I almost left the therapy field because I felt guilty and felt bad taking money. And people make you feel guilty. People will throw it on you. Midnightrabbi, I would really highly recommend that you figure out a way to balance that you should get a normal salary. Because other than that, chas v'shalom, you're not doing any more the front lines in your shalayim and the streets. That's terrible. To me, it's a tragedy.
Yeah, these last few months is not.
These last few months is a tragedy that we lost you.
I could go b'chinam, but then, like you said, I'm not taking care of myself.
Not only that, you're not. You tried it. You're not. You're helping people online now. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not. Now, let's put it simpler. If you would have just 15 boys and the father pays you $100 a week for 15 hours, that means they're going to be staying with you. $100. How many boys? 15 boys. That's
would the yeshivas be agreeable to this? That's the big question.
It's a separate. You're not now dealing. Let's just recognize your part. You're picking up a boy 12 o'clock at night, and I don't want to say the places, but where they are, and you tell a father, you give me $100 a week. I will spend 15 hours with your boys with 3-4, and you get to 3-4 friends. Whoever wants those friends, you don't think the boys, once you get 3-4 guys, will say, I want to go with this. He's got the boys with them, and it's kosher, and you place the call? Imagine you would have a group, the Midnightrabbi boys. 7-8 boys a week.
Yeah, that's what I planned to do. I really did plan to organize this financially.
But here's where the difficult part comes in. If someone can't afford it right now, at those hours, you cannot give them the time. There will be time for your chesed. You might do it after 5 in the morning. This radio phone line, do you know the amount that I do? Unbelievable amount. However, my business hours of 9 to 5, at that time, I cannot do chesed with my business time. I do chesed other times. I had a bacher, I don't want to say this because a lot of my clients are going to be upset, but someone that lived next to me, I'm not going to go into mamish cried. On Shabbos, I give this guy a free session. I asked the Rav, it's 100% okay. So instead of sleeping 2 hours, which I tried to sleep, I sleep an hour. I give this guy 45 minutes now for who knows how many weeks now. I can do my chesed time. Not on my kids' time, not on my wife's time, but I have to make my parnasa. If you can't learn to balance now, Midnightrabbi, if you would have your 7-8 boys, your times that they're hanging around from 11 to 3 in the morning, they're yours. After 3, you give away for free. Before 11, you give away for free. You'll still do your chesed, but where you have to recognize, unfortunately, we lost you because you didn't learn this value. That's why we always get these people calling up therapists. They're in it for the money. I understand when someone doesn't see what's going on behind the scenes, but we lost you, my friend. But not Chas v'Shalom online isn't doing. But I always had a smile in my heart when I would just check your website or your blog and see another dance that you did with the boys and something else they were around. I felt good knowing there's someone there. But if you don't balance it with Olam Hazeh, Tachlis, unfortunately we lose you. And I know great therapists.
Is it possible to do it without the qualifications and without the
Sure, you're not being a therapist. You're being like a life coach. You're taking them off the streets. Qualify what you are. You had hundreds of boys come to you. I don't have hundreds of boys coming to me.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I couldn't do it, but you got it. You got the koyach. What?
I think music is a tremendously powerful tool as well, especially with simcha.
It's your koyach. Stop rationalizing. Stop rationalizing how you're doing it. The Rebbeinu Shalom gave you a bracha.
Yeah.
You told me we were discussing 15 hours a week with a boy, and you have hundreds of boys, and most people gave you is they sponsored you a kiddush. A little here and there. We lost you, my friend. And I shouldn't say we lost you. Let's get you back. Go back, speak to the couple of boys, maybe try it, maybe make a deal with your wife, for example, tell her, give me 2 weeks to go back to the streets of Yerushalayim, 12 o'clock at night. You contact the boys, you say, boys, you're out in the street. I am willing to hang around with 10 of you. Give me your father's number. I'm willing to get your kid Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night especially, those nights hanging around me from 11 till 4 in the morning. They got the door open by me. All I'm asking for is $100 a week. But
the goal would be to make this kavias. We don't want them to stay on the street. We want them off the street.
That's right. And then the
once
minute
we get them off the street, then they're out of my.
That's right. And once they're off the street, and once they get more comfortable to normal, and it will take several months, then you've gotten the boys stable in the yeshiva, and now you have opening for another one. Yes.
Okay.
And if you make more money, and all your family needs is $700 or $800 a week, and you're making $1,500 a week, don't not take the money. Now you could put the money to the kiddush, money to take them on a trip. But first know what's your parnasa, and extra is extra. But if you don't take care of yourself, we lost you.
I really appreciate your show and your support.
And let me make it clear. I want you back on the streets. I want you on the streets. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't. You got the
koyach. I appreciate that. And I'm going to definitely go on the streets during Sukkot to dance with all the guys. I'm trying to get as many...
To the boys, you get their numbers. You ask them, are you guys willing to come to me? Would you guys willing to commit? Not to commit, but you guys will hang around every night I'm out with you guys. Would you guys get a team? Would you guys want to now give me your father's number? You call up the fathers and you say, this is reality. If you pay, I can have it. I will be having several of his friends coming along. Do you want him? That's the condition at those hours.
Okay.
We would have the Midnightrabbi back in person.
Amen. It's easy to find me, just Midnightrabbi. That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
And also do me a favor, call back. It would do a tremendous amount for me to know that, for me, at least knowing that I gave you that little push, that little boost in getting you to back on. Take care of yourself.
The key is, will Am Yisrael back these things? That's what I want to know.
That what?
Will Am Yisrael back these things, or do I have to sit selling on Amazon or something terrible?
Am Yisrael will back you, but we only back the people once things are successful. I've already learned to accept that. Yeah. Now, an Aisha would say, I see you, but how do I know you're really good? It's reality. Do you know the amount of requests that an Aisha gets on a daily basis? The only way to know if something is real is when you see the successes. So not when someone says, I helped, because it looks like that's why you got to learn to take care of yourself first. Every organization first starts with them. They funded it. They got it going. Then years later, every organization starts with me, myself, and I. And from there, I am doing it. But if you can't get the backing on your own, then it's hard to say Klal Yisrael. Everything is needed for Klal Yisrael.
Yes, true.
So start. Let those that have a need, let them take responsibility. Your son is out 4 hours, at least 3 times a week or twice a week. I am willing to be available for him at those times. Not sometimes one-on-one, most of the time in a group, but know that for $100 a week, your son is not in those bad places. I think it's a no-brainer.
Excellent.
And the one thing to be clear is when the father or mother says no, you have to say no as well. If you will let them be there for free, you will end up being free. If you break the rule once or twice, maybe it will survive. You break the rule 5 times, you'll be broke. Somehow, you're not going to get it. I need to clarify you as a business aspect. But those business hours, the parent must give it. The kid's begging you time, no problem. I'll give you before 11 or after 3. But those hours...
What if, for example, some of the kids I have, their fathers or mothers are having financial difficulties, etc., etc.
Let me tell you something.
It is a financial scholarships. What do you do?
They can borrow it, go $100 to save their kid a week off the hours from 12 to 3. It's a lot more expensive getting those kids off the drug, everything else, Hassan, when the kid is off the derech.
What if the kid resists me getting involved with the parents?
Then you don't give the kid a choice. You tell the kid, look, you're out. You love me. I love you. You see what's going on. You start with what you got. You start with 3 boys that want to hang around you. We don't conquer the world one day at a time. Do you know I still get opposition to this phone line that I have? No problem. Just turn the dial.
Don't pay attention to it. You're doing amazing.
Thank you, but all the time. It's no problem. Then don't call in. It's not here for those. If you worked on hundreds of people, hundreds of kids, let's say 50 of them you would have helped. Instead of 500 that you say, but you would have helped 50. You would still be in there, in the line, and over 10 years, you would save 10,000. Instead, you dropped out after 5. Couldn't balance it. Balance, my friend. Rather to help 50 consistently while you're helping yourself, and over the long time, if you check out, just do the Google number. I have an entire program. I don't remember which one it is, but it's like a penny doubled concept. If I offer you $1 million today, or a penny doubled, which today it's a cent, 1 cent, the next day it's 2, the next is 4, then 8, then 16, then 32, then 64, then 128, then 2, 4, 256, and you do the number up and up and up. In 1 month, a penny doubled is going to reach 31 days. Is going to reach 10 million something, $10,700,000. Consistently helping 50 people, consistently helping 10 boys every week in a row will give you more success than helping 500 people over a year and a half, 2 years, and then falling out. You target what you can, and this is for everyone listening. I'm not just talking for the awareness. You want to help out. Make sure you take care of yourself, and then you can help hundreds of people throughout your history. You don't take care of yourself, it's not balanced. You will lose. Klal Yisrael will lose you.
Wow. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure, and I hope with Siyata D'Shmaya follow up even 2-3 weeks after Sukkot, even if it's not working. Or Bli Neder, I will give you from this program, since this is my donation. Since this is my donation, I choose to give you every single week. Call me up. And we will spend 5-10 minutes of giving you advice, suggestions, growing. Any question that you've got, I will be able to help you. Because I feel helping you will help another, I call it like little ripples. You know when you drop a little, what do you call it? Like a little drop of water, ripple going?
Yeah.
Now, my goal of this program is I'm just making a ripple, and people hear the information. And when I get messages that they go for therapists and they keep on growing, to me, I know I did my ripple. Helping you, I feel, is going to make another major ripple that the next drop comes and will keep the ripple going. So helping you, I feel, is one of the great schusim that I love, is helping people that make affecting others. And I felt good knowing that there was someone like you on the front lines, and if we need to give you the help, I will give that to you. And if anyone has got difficulties with my suggestions or people have different advice, why don't we share? What's your website, Midnightrabbi, so people could listen?
It's Midnightrabbi Inspired. If it's Googled, Midnightrabbi Inspired. That's
Midnightrabbi Inspired. They could see you. You're a wonderful, Chassidish-looking guy. I couldn't tell by your voice.
No, I grew up in London. I wasn't so Chassidish, but I've had it myself.
Yes. And my friend, we need you, but we can only have you if you take care of yourself. And when we spoke months ago, I heard you weren't taking. I told you got to. I'm sad to see that you didn't. Yeah.
No, I did try different things, but Hashem, I'm at a point where this is a new year, a new fresh
new year,
start,
and Klal Yisrael needs you. Do not go to that shir.
Don't anybody else's.
Yes.
So anyone can contact me.
But again, I make a request.
Like you said, in a real way, so I can take care of myself.
I want to make a request. The only way to make the request is to break the addiction of thinking that people will help you. My request to you is, even if someone sends you donations, do not use it at all. Your way to make it is you got to learn to charge for your time, and that's still chesed. That's unbelievable chesed. However, there's chesed other times. Your workable hours must be workable and must be billable.
Wow.
Okay?
That's amazing. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Yes, Hatzlacha. Thank you. We are going to Fagi. Thank you for holding. Fagi, you're on line 2. Thank you for holding so long, I should say.
That's okay. My question is this.
Hold on. Let me get your help. What do you say to what I suggested to the Midnightrabbi? What's your take? And if people are listening, I'd like to hear your opinion. Call up, just give. I'm right, wrong. We're not going to make long topics, but I feel it's a very important point for people to realize how many people go into the field to help, and people will not pay, unfortunately, unless it's demanded. That's just the reality, Shabbai. And we can't rely on the Ashirim to go sponsor everything. What's your thoughts? And I'm comfortable if you disagree.
It's totally right.
And do you understand how this guy's such a great heart, but how bad he feels that if the parents say, I can't afford, so he doesn't charge, but then unfortunately, he's not helping teens anymore.
Right, that's his problem.
His title was called Midnightrabbi. His specialty is he would leave his wife and kids and be out in the street 12 o'clock at night getting the boys off. Hear it now. When he asks for a simple amount of money, they'll spot one of the Kadeshim that he gives for free. They'll give a little money to that. All right, Faggy, thank you for that. What's your question, your comment?
Boy,
the lights, everything, all the switchboards just lit up, I see. Okay, good. Yeah.
I consider myself a perfectionist.
Yes. Welcome to the club.
But my house is always messy.
Yes.
And I always have excuses for that.
Yes.
My baby is always crying,
Sure.
or I have to do this and that. But I'm wondering if it's not stemming from something more.
Sure it is. And it happens to perfectionists like me and like you. The more, I shouldn't call myself any more perfectionist. Working hard off that, and I'm really letting go. So I'd call myself maybe a recovering perfectionist, as those call themselves. But we get overwhelmed by how much we want to do that's impossible to do, that we actually do less. So the more perfectionist you are, the less you're going to be doing. So when someone comes into my office, or this boy or bacher or a person is up till 5 in the morning, the best times in the evening times when everyone is sleeping, they wake up late, they don't do anything, the more of a perfectionist they are. The more they accomplish, the less of a perfectionist they are. That's one of the big secrets.
I never thought of it as that.
Exactly, because the more that's on our head, the more weighted we are, the less we can do. I got to do the laundry, but it has to be so perfect. You would try to do anything to avoid the laundry because it's so hard to do. So what ends up happening is perfectionists are really messy. Perfectionists are really those that don't do much. However, when we do something, it's done perfect. But because we do it so perfect, we really don't do that much. And the less I am perfectionist and the more I'm recovering in that, Baruch Hashem, so much more is getting done and so much accomplished.
That's right. So what can I do?
Ha! Welcome to the world. Slow down. Start saying I accept myself. Listen to some of the other programs on how... Listen to self-esteem. I don't have over here a list on programs, but it's number 1. I've got a program, Let Go, You Won't Accomplish Everything Anyhow. I've got the program on how to make choices, which is going to be similar because about making choices about never getting it right. There's one about inner peace, a program. I've got 62 shiurim. Just go through the titles. You could see it online, and you can download them or listen to them from there, or from my phone line on 718-298-2011. You can get it all from there, and just listen to those hour programs. I've given them all for free. Those are one of the cheseds that I do for free.
Thank you.
Hours. Those have to be for Parnassa. Excellent.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Reb Shloimeh, you're on the air with Mordechai.
Yeah, hello, do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you clearly. Whoops, hold on,
Yeah.
hold on, hold on. All right, we dropped 2, and we dropped 3 somehow. We just lost you, Reb Shloimeh. Call right in. Gotta play around with this a little. Call right back, Reb Shloimeh, and then we will take you. We've got Suri on line 5. Just hold on. I want to go back to Rabbi Shloimeh and see if it was you that I missed. We got calling. Yeah, that's him. Error on line 1 is Shlomo. Good, I got it. Reb Shloimeh, you're on.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes.
And thanks for your help for the clown.
Great. Quick question about that Midnightrabbi. What's your thoughts?
Oh, I just came in now. Tell me the question.
Okay, fine. No problem. Good.
Yeah, I'm referring to the concept of in the therapy.
Okay, let's go hear your opinion about it.
Yeah, so that's went over, and I think that because people don't feel validated, they don't have it. They still feel that it's still a minute an issue, even if you prove them 100% that it's not. So loading on the kids that both are right. That you're 100% right. That now once he's stuck in his pattern, He's like, he knows everything, and nothing's going to help him now. Now's not the time to talk him into talking because he views everything his way of thought. Like, I wanted him also, like, because it's like two pieces of paper. One piece of paper is black, and you're going to tell him all the stuff is going to make a little bit damn, but he's still a blacker piece of paper. He's going to use everything black. And,
excellent. So let me play the devil's advocate. Let me take, because that's what they were saying. Those that didn't understand that emunah b'tachon and therapy are two different issues, and that's why the Rav does it, and all that we've mentioned, the medication helps. Let me take their side. What do you mean? If you learn Chovos HaLevavos, it's all better. He talks over there about everything.
Okay, so that's what I want to bring out.
Good.
People mean is that because that's 100% true that if we will learn Midnightrabbi the right way, like how Ksur Salante that how nice we could be, that Torah is not like a book of obligations. It's a way of life.
Yeah.
Torah is like instructions of living.
Yeah.
Like as if someone buys a car.
Yeah.
You have to read the instructions how to. Yes, every 10,000 miles you have to make an oil change. He doesn't do that. He falls in problems. Yeah.
Yes.
Someone has a 747. He has to read all the instructions.
So let me ask you.
So
you're saying the instructions is if anyone's got anxiety, then they should take the instruction book of Chovos HaLevavos?
No. So that's 100%. So someone falls. His car is not working. Now is not the time to take out the instructions. Now he has a problem and he doesn't help him the instruction.
Yes. So
to say for both people, they're 100% right that at the beginning of the life, Torah is a way of instructions to live. And Midnightrabbi is a way. It's not a madraiga that all people think. It's a madraiga with tzaddikim. They don't give it to them. It's a way how a simple Yid should live this life.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how right the richtige Weg we lernen, we fall into problems. But that doesn't mean that if a person would from the beginning,
Shlomo, I thank your opinion.
Right,
I thank it. I just look at it a little bit differently because to me, yes, if it's emunah b'tachon shaila and if the person's not living his life correctly, then that's again where the Rav gets involved. So I don't want to get that much into it anymore because I do feel as long as it's emunah b'tachon shaila, it's a question of your way of living, and you need to have the Torah way of living. That's okay.
That's 100% right. Now's not the time.
That's right. Anxiety is a certain way of thinking of perfectionist or whatever else that goes along with it, and those stuff need those changes.
Yeah,
I thank you. I want you to know when you say you're calling about the emunah b'tachon topic, I want you to know my stomach. For those of you who think that I'm like looking so calm, my stomach gave a turn. Oy vey, not now. I hope we'll go gentle. So thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the information. I just don't want to stay on it much longer.
Yeah.
Shkaya. Amen. Siyata d'shmaya. Great. We are going to Suri on line 5, and then we're going to go to Miriam. Suri, you're on there with Mordechai.
Hello.
Yes. Whoops. Hello? Hello? Whoops, we lost her. All right, let's go then to Miriam. Miriam, you're on the air with Mordechai. Hello, Miriam? Hello, hello, hello. Hello? Difficulties over here. Let's see if we can get this. Whoops. Hello? All right, we'll have you guys just call right back in. Yeah, we see it's going. Just call back in and we'll take it. We'll get it. Wow. Anyhow, pretty good topic. And I hope Mertzshem to hear that the Midnightrabbi is on and we'll be back because it's a great schus. We're going to Suri. You're back.
Yeah, hi. My question is, how does somebody know if physical symptoms has to do with stress?
Go to the doctor. I always tell everyone. The doctor will tell you.
I'll tell you. I just had a certain shift in life, and I don't see it stressful at all.
You just had what? Wait, say that again.
I got engaged.
Say that again. I still don't hear you. You're coming up like with an echo.
I got engaged.
Mazel tov.
And I don't see it stressful at all. But since I got engaged, I had my throat hurted, my ears, and then I got a terrible eye infection. And the doctor doesn't know what it is. I had 2 tests for drops that didn't help. And one of my aunts tells me it's stress. And I'm just wondering, where does stress come in?
Well, I'll tell you, if you say headaches, if you say throat, that might be more.
I don't have headaches, and I want to know if I should link it or.
I'll tell you, eye turning red, I don't have that much experience with it, but I usually don't know eyes turning red to be emotional. I would say that might be more physical.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me.
However, just for you to be aware very clearly, and let me explain to you how the body works so you might understand. Our body is a very advanced system. And since, as the Rebbeinu Shalom told us, Klal Yisrael ka'am kshei orefu, we are a stubborn nation, we don't like changes, and we avoid changes. So let's assume if we walk into a wall and we get hurt, we will not say, let me go around the wall. We think as Bnei Malachim, Melech Payirds Geder, Melech breaks a hole, we'll break the wall. So instead of learning and saying, oh, I need to change, we bump our heads in the wall, then we get a headache. Now, instead of blaming our steps, we're now blaming the wall. Now, what happens is, what happens to our physical, our mind is giving us messages, change, stop. Change what you're doing. You're not thinking healthy. And you know what happens? We don't stop. What happens is now our brain's got to speak loud, and that's shut us down till we're forced to listen and make changes. So I'm not saying that's going on by you. In fact, when someone comes into me, I'm having headaches, doctor says it's stress, but I'm not under stress. I go, oy vey, this is, you just said you need 6 months of therapy. Because it takes more time having the person recognize.
Well, I know that I have certain stresses in my life.
Well, everyone's got stresses in their life.
Yeah, I understand, but I think that since I got engaged, stress just went down. Almost many things just disappeared. So I don't know. I wouldn't even link it because I think I would have.
That's where I cannot help you. This call is for information. And information, I could explain how the mind-body connection works and when the body creates the pain. However, if things are great in your life and your throat's hurting a little bit and the doctor says it's okay and your eye turned red and let's say gave you eye drops, now your eyes are clear, then yippity-doo, continue going the way you are. But if your body starts screaming louder and you start getting chest pains, you start getting anxiety attacks, you start getting major migraine headaches, and they do an MRI and everything is clear with you, then be aware that it is something a lot more and that it is stress, and that will come from the medical doctor. Now, there are people, just to validate you, that think is stress. You got an infection, it's stress. You got any problem, it's stress. No. There are medical, physical things that need to be ruled out. That's why I say you first rule out the medical stuff, then we deal with the emotional stuff.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. We are now going to go to Miriam. Miriam, on line 2.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm calling about the Midnightrabbi.
Yes.
Just to say from the other side of the coin, from people who need help,
yes,
that when somebody doesn't take any money, it's not the people that need help don't feel so secure, and that it's like because they take money, it makes them feel much more trust, to have much more trust.
In other words, you're saying that they have trust to spend the time because they know they're getting paid? Is that what you're saying?
No. From the other people that are reaching out to the Midnightrabbi, the people that are reaching out to people that should help them.
Yes.
So from that side, I'm saying...
So you're saying there's more trust in the person that doesn't take money, like if someone's doing it for free?
No.
No, I have over here my friend with me in the room. He's telling me, no, I'm not getting you clearly, so I'm sorry. This is just good. Let's put more words in it so I can get it.
Validating that also from this side, not only what you are saying, but from the people on the other side. I have, let's say, an experience from me, from other people, that if somebody doesn't take money, it's like it takes much longer to trust that person. Just like you go to somebody for license and doesn't have any license, but
right. So you can trust them more because when you're paying, you know that they're there for you.
And then if that person takes money, it means he's really here. He's like committed to it.
Yes, I can be there. Like you're supposed to be there. I'm giving you something. Be there for me. Now, isn't this sad? Isn't this sad? Because what happens with this Midnightrabbi, that's why I spend so much time on it, is because so many people that I speak to, they tell me they want to be a therapist. They help people, and I tell them that's fantastic. But when you help people and you weren't getting money, how are you when you're going to start asking for money? Because somewhere as a therapist, you're going to have to start asking for money. He says, oh, I can't ask, I can't do that. I said, then I feel bad to tell you, but unfortunately this field can throw you out. You can have the greatest heart in the world, and it's going to do that. And it's so sad. This Midnightrabbi, I'm in touch with him for over a year now, at least. And he called once in, and I followed up with him. We've been emailing each other, questions, this and that. And I feel bad to hear this news that he's not working.
So what I'm also trying to say is that I don't think it's anything that the people that help, I don't see they have to go through the process. First not to take money and then learn on their own, the consequences, because there's no way, I see all the people start without taking money. It's just that for me to give support for those that are listening, that I want to help people, that they should know that the people that come to them, the people
Thank
that
you.
are...
So, Midnight Rabbi, you have over here Miriam from line 2 calling in to tell you that by you charging actually will help the kids, the teenagers feel better, feel more trust in you, and even the parents will probably feel more trust because they know they're giving you $100, and it's not a lot. He hangs around a lot of boys at a time. So if a father knows...
It's only a matter of a first rejection, like, oh, money, no. But it's just the first response.
That's right, or the first couple. But once he'll have 4 parents that will say yes, $400 or $500 a week coming in, he loves it. This guy's neshama's pure helping people. I met him. I said, wow, beautiful. I want to thank you for that validation.
Thank you.
It really means a lot to me. And to hear the people on the other side of the coin also validate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. The number to call in is 718-683-5858, 718-683-5858. Here we go over here on the Lakewood Scoop. What's your suggestion for single mothers that children ask questions like, where is Tati? Or when can we get a Tati? How does one respond to that? Wow, that is a heavy one. And if there's a divorce, there's one answer. If the father was nifter, there's a different answer. And that means if there's a divorce, I usually try to sort of tell them is that Mommy and Tati had some difficulties or whatever happened, that we're living in 2 different houses, and here's where the but comes in. We both love you unconditionally at all times. You ever want to go to Tati? We'll try to work it out. You want to go to Mommy? We'll work it out. We'll get them on the phone. We love you. You're not the cause for the divorce. Very important for the kids to hear it, because they'll always feel, cause I cried, Mommy and Tati then had a fight over who should go to me. And I asked for something and they start fighting who's paying for it. And many times kids walk around with that guilty feeling that they need to hear they're not the cause at all. Now, however, if unfortunately where the father is nifter, it's Tati is in Shemayim next to Hashem and he's looking down at us and watching us. I could tell you it was my brother's Vart last night, and during the dancing, I just got so emotional thinking my father should have been here dancing with him. I mean, such a special father, such a special brother, such special mechatanim, unbelievable as to who they are and how wonderful they are. And with all that, I felt my father, again, this is just my feelings, and my father was there smiling in Shemayim together with the Rebbeinu Shleilim. So again, we might need to do that. But if it's again coming up with a divorce, it's simple. Tati wants to be here. Mommy loves you. Tati loves you. You'll be by Tati at times. There'll be other things. Yes. Yes. Okay. Someone just, my wonderful friend Chanoich just told me over here, suggested there's a book, a children's book on the market that's called My Father Doesn't Live Here Anymore. It's great for divorce or for nifter or for divorce, and maybe what to say and how to deal with it. That's great. There is a book. This is one thing I will recommend publicly, surprisingly that I'm doing it, but I forgot the name. It's by a frum person that lives in Florida. It's called The Sandcastle Way of Divorce. In Florida, it's mandatory before someone gets divorced, at least for them to go through it and to read the book. And a large part of that, at least that's what I was told, or that's what is a large part of that book, and a lot of those concepts is what I use with what to tell the kids and how to deal with the kids on a lot of those subjects. And it's important for the parents because there they go, don't involve the kids, and they give a lot of that information there. But good, so my father doesn't live here anymore. That would be an interesting way to deal with that. Yehudit, you're on line 1.
Yeah, can I'm a Hasidic.
You sound like Yehuda, not Yehudit. Yehudit is a lady's name. Yehuda. Yes.
Yehuda, yeah.
Yes.
It's me?
Yes, it's you.
Yeah. Okay. Can I speak Yiddish? I'm not so good in English.
Go ahead, try Yiddish, and ich los a bisschen übertatschen. Lass mich hören.
Okay. Ich will sagen, ich habe gehört die Schirm von Self-Esteem, von den alle Sachen, von Rights. Ich habe ein paar Kleinigkeiten, das ich gewollt fragen.
Good, so let's stop a second. Hold on, sir. So that you heard the program on self-esteem, know your rights a couple of ask a couple of questions about them. Go ahead. Wo sind deine Schales?
Ja, ich fühl, als du, ich bin eine Woche von 18 Jahren, ich lerne in der Yeshiva, ich bin ein Tabucher. Ich fühl, als du ein Bucher in meiner Klasse, wo ich stelle mich vor, als ich in die alle Instructions, wo es mir heet bei der Schirm, kann ich auch sein, also wie der Bucher, so viel ich. Und das Problem ist, als du ein Stück auf der Bucher, as nobody likes him.
Let's take a step back. Hold on. Let me touch over to those listening.
Okay.
So your question is that if you're going to build up your self-esteem, your confidence, and know your rights, you're going to look like a certain boy in the class, and that boy people don't like.
Yeah.
Now, let's go ahead and address the question.
Okay.
Notice that the programs are meant for information-based for you to be able to do it to the best of your ability. That's not therapy. If you need actual tools, so imagine you're going to the suit store. You're going to buy a suit for Yontiv, and they're a general size, but they have to be tailored. That's why I tell people all the time, self-help books are wonderful self-help books, but they're not tailored. They're not therapy. They're not where the person tells you, no, you're completely blind. If you need more work, you need it tailored, then you need a coach, a magachir. You might need a therapist to help you do it. That's not the point of the shiurim. Point of the shiurim books. If you're able to take the information and do it on a healthy, normal basis that you understand on your own, great. If you need it tailor-made, then you need...
So I have to go to therapy to explain this?
I didn't say therapy. I said a tailor. Maybe it's a Maggid Shir. Maybe it's an older brother. Maybe it's a good friend that you can listen to it together and how to do it on a healthy level. I'm not jumping to therapy. Therapy is much further after you've done all that. You both can listen to my shir and then discuss how do we do it healthy. So that's general. That's not tailored. Imagine someone, just to give you an example, is bipolar and they're manic. So right now they're going on 3 hours sleep, screaming in the streets when they meet someone, "Hi, how are you?" In fact, it's weird because now Ben Azmanim, so I was yesterday in a store to buy a bagel and they had like 7 or 8 bachrim. And all of a sudden one guy started screaming, "Hey!" And everyone goes, calm down a little. I'm thinking, wow, this bacha's parents must be themselves over from embarrassment. If this guy's like that just in the middle of the day so loud, I heard so many issues that are going on. If this guy is going to listen to my self-esteem program or know your rights, Hashem Yishmar, what would happen? That's why it's a general information. The Hamevin Yavin that you got to use, the Chachma Bina and Das is when to use what. So you could take the shir, do it with a friend, so this way you guys will do it together. I'll we'll help another person also learn the good information, and then you guys can start discussing it. Did Mordechai mean this? Did Mordechai mean that? And I promise you, I have no idea what I meant. I just gave information. And then you guys are going to be tailoring it because I didn't have just you in mind. That's why I always give 10 different tips. The concept of 10 different tips are because one will work for someone more, someone for someone less. Someone will want to connect solution number 1 and number 7 together for them. And that's where tailoring comes in.
Okay.
And just know you don't have to make a ganzen share out of Mordechai because I am not on that level where where they say tzaddikim the bunch loylam the bears toch groinoi. There's the shchina when they're writing and all that stuff. This was my pusha to pashtus information. I daven for siyata d'shmaya all the time, so I'm sure there was siyata d'shmaya because it's helping people. However, feel free to disagree. You have permission from the machaber to be machalik with me, and I'll say in your case you'll be right probably.
Okay, en nog een kleinigheid.
Okay.
Dat zeg moe. Daar zoekt men de shirem als niet te zijn gereisd op de wereld. Ja, een van de kinderen is niet te zijn gereisd op de wereld. Dat heißt, wenn du siehst,
yes.
Wenn du siehst, da zweite, das ist schon so stark gewesen, ich beginne mit Rachmonen so in die ganze Sache.
Ja.
Ich gehe das sag moe, ist interessant, weil ich gehe das sag moe mit zahlt Masses von tiefen Gemurret, von jüdische Rebbes. So man muss sich gekannt aushalten, geben zu Ducken, geben das ganze Geld. Das ist interessant. Wie sie das, also man sieht nach heute, also da gibt es Sachen.
Now, here's where I'll tell you. So again, your question is that I tell people many times, or almost all the time, you got to have it balanced. Don't just feel for that person. It's not healthy to feel so much, but then you hear stories of tzaddikim, how they gave away everything to the person, all the tzedakahs. And to that, my friend, the answer is, I'm not going to say which one, but there's a chassidish mass of one of the rabbis that gave away his chandelier, his candlesticks.
Okay.
And the client that I had was telling me, how am I allowed to have, am I really giving tzedakah? I gave it away. So I told him, let's take a step back, because he's fighting. He wants to give away his silver life that he got when he got married from the ground. Hold on, which Rebbe? I knew which Rebbe was. He told me which Rebbe. I said, why don't you go now to that Rebbe's, to the Einikel, which is the Rebbe, and ask him, do you have first the candlesticks? Maybe the minig is that this Chassidus, they give away the candlesticks. He says, no, I know for... I said, excellent. So if he has asked the Rebbe, what do we do about Yamasa? And sure enough, the answer was, because at that time, whatever it was, there's a masa for us to learn, and we're supposed to take out a lesson. But that's why we don't paskin from Agada to Gemaras. We're not allowed to paskin from that. It's meant to give us an idea. It's meant to teach us how Klal Yisrael is supposed to be. It's got to be balanced. And I never say don't care. I always say balanced. Always balanced.
So we have to...
You have to know balance. So let me ask you, if you're going to live each of those Chassidish Masas, that's going to be... Rebbe Lemelech was 14 years in Gulis. Are you going to now leave your wife and kids for 14 years?
Oh, okay.
No, wait a second. Not only that, you have to do that. Now, let's go to... Since you're Chassidish, let's go take every Chassidish Rebbe Shemas, and I want to put every single one in you. Will you be able to live that life? Now, on the other hand, chas v'shulim, if you don't do that, we're not learning. That's the balance. I'm trying to remember right now the Gemara that I said. I think it was in Bab Metzia, where the Gemara said that if you have your Aveda, if you lost something, and your Rebbe lost something, your father lost something, who do you have to grab first? And the Gemara says, the Mishnah says, you have to take yourself first, because there's a mitzvah esa shelo b'cho ani or evyon. You shouldn't be poor people. So here the Gemara oblat before, saying if it's your father or your father, your Malamed who comes first, you definitely have to give the Rebbe, takes the Chayil El Mabo and all that. However, there's a mitzvah. Then I think the Gemara finishes off saying, but Rabbi Yehuda says, or Rav says, however, if you're going to be busy living all your life taking care of yourself first, then you're chas v'shalom going to end up being like them, that you're not going to have anything. Balance is the lashon of the Gemara. Balance. So you need to know you come first. However, if you're always taking care of yourself first, unfortunately, we will have nothing in life. We're going to end up broke without anything. Balance. So now, Rebbe Lemelech, what's the story that I take out of that is there's got to be a time that I have to shut down. Happens to be I have a little yichus. When I said Rebbe Lemelech, I only picked that because I'm an Einikel. So I figured, you know something? I'll deal with that. But just to use that example, I take from that story that I have to have a time that I am not. I'll tell you guys one of the secrets I do sometimes, that I am not quote-unquote Mordechai Weinberger that has to answer all the questions. Once in a while I could go somewhere and someone will tell me, are you Mordechai Weinberger? And I tell them I'm a very close relative. But right now I don't want to be Mordechai Weinberger. If I'm somewhere with my kids and someone stops me, just saying I'm sorry, I can't speak to you, and then this and then that, and just a quick question takes time. I go, I'm a very close, I know I look like him and I'm a very close relative. I don't say I'm not him, but I say a very close relative. And they go, oh, fine, you sound like him. I go, yeah, he's very good, nice, thank you, and I move on. You got to have a time.
Look auf Tanzeruf, als ich kann schlafen bei Nacht, hat Geld übrig. Ich muss alles weggeben, das zu ducken.
Excellent. Now go ahead and speak now to Tzanzeruv's Einikel, to the Tzanzer Rebbe's, and ask them, are you supposed to now give away every single penny that you have? And if they say yes, and if you're Tzanzer Chusad, go right ahead and do that. That's why we have Rabbunim to ask them. That's exactly why you have to. Just ask. Ask any of the Tzanzer Dayunim. You don't have to go to the Rebbe. It's hard to get to Rebbes. I'm not chasron because they're not. They just have huge chassidus, huge kehillas. We can't ask them with every person has a quick question. Ask any Tzanzer Dayan over there. Any of the Tzanzer Rebbe's kids. Tell me, am I allowed to have one penny left because there's a story as Dan Zayda that he couldn't sleep? Ask. If they say yes, go ahead. But ask. Don't paskin on extreme levels because of the masa.
I have to ask. I have to balance.
Ask. Balance, my friend. The secret is balance.
Okay.
Now, does that make sense to you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Great.
Yeah.
And that's the balance. That's the balance where I'll just tell you, I'm almost sure I heard it from Rabbi Avigdor Miller, but I'm pretty sure I heard it from him, where they asked him, if there's every midah that you're allowed to have, what about an apikoros? Are you ever allowed to use the midah of apikoros? And he says, yes, avada, when it comes to tzedakah. You're supposed to say, if I don't help this person, he's not going to get helped. Again, there's a midah, a time thing. On the other hand, if you're going to give everything away, the Torah halacha gives you a shir when to give tzedakah, how much, and more than that isn't. So the balance is what's needed. Again, we also need to realize one thing, and not chas v'shalom to say that we're not. Halavai, we should all get to the madrega of the Tzanzer Ruv, that we can give that away and we don't need it on that level. But if you're Shalom Bayis, if your wife needs it, you need to ask the Rabbunim over there and find out. If you're still living where you have to pay bills, and if you owe money, and you just got money, should you give it to tzedakah or should you pay back your chayiv? I wonder what they will say. Now again, we can do the famous, there are stories during the war, during the Milchama, it's unbelievable, where the Rebbes gave away everything. And it's true, and Rebbes today, I don't like talking about the past, by the way. Another friend of mine once told it to me, and it's very important. I find that our generation, we're very busy of the Rabbanim that were last generation, how great they are, and we're forgetting about how great our Rabbanim and Gedolim are today. Because let's realize 50 years from now, we're going to talk about how great our Gedolim are today. But we're not appreciating it because we're busy what was last generation. Let's appreciate and value our Gedolim today. Think about it now. Think about one of the Gedolim that you knew that were nifter, and now see 10 years after they're nifter how people are talking about them. But did you value them when they were alive? No. And it's one of the things that I like mentioning or pushing. And that's why I'm always saying, when you find a chasurin or something, you heard a Gedol did something, don't attack right away. Don't knock it down. They're Gedolim. They're tzaddikim. They're living their life. I know I'm just a simple therapist, and how much my life is giving away, how much my family suffers many times on my schedule, and I'm not a ruv or a tzaddik where kehillah comes. We have chassidim, or you have talmidim, where they're coming to you and calling to you, shidduchim, and every little basis that you got to be available 24/7. Chas v'shalom, illnesses. Let's value who we have. So let me ask you now a question. Do you have a Rav that you're connected to?
Sure.
Good. So why don't you ask that Rav before you go to any of the tzanza Einekloch, to any of the tzanza Dayonim, unless you're tzanza Chusad, let's say, but ask your Rav first. Take it to your Rav. Ask him, how do you balance the two? And I would like, if you feel comfortable, to call back Meretz Hashem after Yom Tov and share with us the story, the answer. I'm curious to hear what the answer will be.
Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi Yehuda. Appreciate the question very much.
Thank you.
Great. We are going over here to, actually, you can call in 718-683-5858. Over here, a lot of messages coming in for the Midnight Rabbi thanking him. Let's go over here. Where's this? Wow, there's a lot. Okay, this is just a simple question. Oh my gosh, this is like really wow. I'm curious, what can you share from a therapist's point of view on Chshivas HaTorah? How do you see it in your world from Yidden? My friend, let me give a very clear and quick major point, and that goes as follows. I am first and foremost a Yid. First and foremost a From Yid. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And chas v'shalom, if there's ever a choice, I shouldn't have an assignment to be tested, but I know and I trust on myself, not myself, because I trust on my grandparents, my parents, my grandparents, my great where they came from. They gave everything away for frumkeit. That's the only reason why we're frum, is because somewhere down the line, a grandparent, not one, many grandparents made the choice that Yiddishkeit comes first. Understand, therapy and Yiddish stira to any from therapist, they work together hand in hand, and we are first a from Yid. That is my position. And Chshivas HaTorah, what type of question is that? What is Histakel B'Raisa Bara Alma? The Rabbi Shalom looked at the Torah and created the world. I don't even understand that question, but sometimes it needs to be verbalized. Psychology is all from Torah. I tell people, it's sometimes annoying, I'm in yeshiva for 20-something years. I'm in kollel for years after that. I go 2 years to a master's program where I take 14 hours a week while I'm still learning. I'm still in kollel, and I'm still taking shiurim. All of a sudden, it became a psychologist. What happened to everything I did till then, everything I do after that? Ask any from therapist how much Torah they learn a day, a week, a month, how much shiurim they're taking. Because they've gone 2 years for a master's program or to a doctorate program for 5 years, ois from Yid, that's it. Became. Now, in the olden days, yes, in the olden days, to become a therapist, it was pure kfira. They didn't let you be a from person, or the whole theories were against frumkeit. So I understand the question. But today, they understand, and us from Yidden are lucky that there's a concept called culturally sensitive, which they have an entire class, many classes on that we should learn to be culturally sensitive to the societies and people that we work with. The benefits to that is that they don't make fun of the from system either, just like you won't make fun of a Christian system, lahavdil, you won't make fun of a Chinese system, you won't make fun of a Tibetan system, you won't make fun of religions or anything else. The same way we are Baruch Hashem protected, they don't make fun of Yiddishkeit. in colleges or in places. So now it's accepted. So therefore, we can be us. We hear the information. We hear the training. And again, we have Rabbanim that we're speaking to, and we move on. So Yiddishkeit, therapy, if you're going to From Therapist, it's one. There's major controversy if you bring in Yiddishkeit into therapy or not. I personally don't. I personally like having the Rav. We get the Rav in there. However, other than that, it's all one, my friend. We're going to go to Nissim. Nissim on line 1.
How are you, Rabbi?
Oh, I didn't know it's the Harav Nissim.
No, I'm not Rav with nobody.
Yes. It is Nissim. Can I tell everyone who you are, whoever doesn't recognize your voice?
I believe that many people recognize my voice,
exactly.
Unfortunately, you know?
Yes. This is the man that made the J-Root happen and is continuing it happen. And the schus and the honor that I have speaking here, and so many people are calling in, Nissim gets 100% of it, because it's your sweat and blood, your hard work, and I know just a little bit, only a little, as what's going on, and wow, that is amazing.
I'm bashing. I'm right now starting bashing about it. It's not that I want to say something. First of all, thank you for a beautiful program that everybody enjoy and learning.
Thank you.
And I'm, and Shana Tova, Gmar Chatima Tova.
Amen.
A good settle. How do you call it? A good settle.
A good kvittel.
Kvittel. So, and I learned also to say that I give bench yo.
Oh man, listen, you got Yiddish over here. You're pretty soon we'll be having the whole show in Yiddish.
Yes. My question to you is basically is like this. I met somebody in the street, and he told me, Nissim, what's going on with all this kind of shows that people are calling, and it could be embarrassing for the families. I recognize my nephew. She said, his nephew, he said something about, the family. It's something that you have to be careful about Sinat Prat, about the privacy of people. And I tell you, I want to hear your point of view about it. Very important, because, and I explained this guy that basically we are consulting the Rabbanim. The benefits are greater than I would say the negative, I would say, and like this. And sometimes even some people thinking they know or recognize the other person, where we are of Lelamed Zchut that they are not these people,
Yes.
So I want to get your feedback about it, and I want that you explain the other people about this awareness line.
Excellent.
About what.
So let me first tell you, Avnissim, because of that question, you and I both know, and we've discussed it clearly, and it goes as follows. We don't let anyone call about other people, which means, let's clarify that, we don't have kids calling in. And every time a kid called, I said, is your mother or father around, and did you get permission? Which means, over the age of 18, and if someone needs help for themselves, they're allowed to share their experiences. We're an individual. We're allowed to share our experiences, and we're allowed to get help. Step one. And if someone is a child where they might not have the information and the seichel on their own, then we don't take the call. That's why you and I both agreed every time a kid ask, is your parent around? For that reason, imagine a 13-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid is going to say, my parents are fighting the whole time, that the kid doesn't know what they're doing. People might recognize it might be an embarrassment. So first, let's be clear. When someone calls, they are always an adult, and they are knowing what they're doing. Step one, correct? Do you agree with me?
Correct. Yeah, 100%.
And that's why we make sure, and that's why we worked it out. We don't have kids, and whenever it's sensitive, or if they mention a yeshiva, or if they mention a name of a school, we don't take it. We say, right, I'm sorry, you mentioned the name of a school, we don't talk about schools, right? That is the purpose, because we are saving details of Lashon Hara. Step one. Step two, that's also why we don't tell people to call with your real names. We don't say, hi, my name is Mordechai Weinberger, my aunt, Rifki, whatever, my mother or my cousin by this and this name is doing it. They never talk real names. That's step two. So we're keeping that private. Step is, we always discuss all the time when we do address the issue, we always show them how it's their perception, and we always show them how the other person might even view it completely different. So we never say, your mother is sick, your aunt is crazy, disconnect. What we say is maybe your aunt is looking at it from a different perspective. I don't give advice. How could I give advice if I don't know the whole story? And from therapy, I know till I don't know the whole story. So when we talk over here, we talk theory. That you feel your aunt might be doing something, you feel your family might be doing something, and we're discussing what would be healthy steps in the way. When it really needs a therapist, you and I both know that we send them to a therapist, which will then actually deal with the case.
Cool.
Now,
Correct.
there's one thing I'd like to mention, the is as follows. If you have a business, and someone on the other end of the world is angry that you're doing a business, do you need to close down your business?
No.
If I'm a therapist and someone else is upset that I'm a therapist, do I need to stop being a therapist? So let's clarify. If the person calls up saying, my aunt is crazy and I hate her, and she says her name is one thing. But everyone has a right to get help. And if someone will recognize their voice, then maybe they should have first gone for therapy one-on-one, then the cousin wouldn't have had to call up for help. But now they're desperate. And the point over here is to create awareness. So we're creating awareness.
Yeah.
And if they would have gone for help before it gets public, there's a saying, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance.
Yeah.
So if they don't take care of the problems, and unfortunately then someone is calling up, and I'm the first level of defense where people can start getting an awareness, or someone else is hearing that saying, I need help. The amount of messages that you and I get in this, and we both know how many people tell us thank you for this program, that they've started going for therapy, things changed for the better, or people they changed therapists because they weren't successful. And if someone has an issue with it, then don't listen, or take care of your own business. Or if you don't help your niece or your nephew when they needed help, get upset if they're going for help.
No question. And I want to tell you it's okay, because I know that the time is flying, and especially in your program. So I want, first of all, to say that Jehud in general is always was with a rabbinical supervision.
Yes.
And it's not that Nissim get up in the morning and decided to do something, and put it in the air and stuff like this. We're very careful checking each one of our hosts and each one of the program, what we can benefit in our community.
Yes.
It's not a business. It's not
There's
something
no
that
money. There's a loss over here going on.
Yeah. No, and yes, the people thinking that maybe, and if we did sometimes raising funds to some people, it was direct to the people. We gave the phone number and we got the information of the people that need. We didn't get it pipeline.
That's right.
And this is what to be clear and loud and clear about it. It's not Nissim and it's not Rabbi Weinberg and not it.
No.
It's Am Israel, and this is something that belongs to all of the community. And that's the point of our point. And awareness is number one of all the issue. Awareness and awareness and awareness.
Yes.
And I really want to thank you about your program, and I know that it's a beautiful program. I think that people love it, and we see the feedback. We see the phone calls. We see that all over the world people are listening to us and watching us also on the screens. And Chazdei Hashem, Baruch Hashem, that we feel that we are really a big lighthouse for Yiddishkeit, and even to the Gentiles that are listening to us, and we see that's a beautiful, beautiful program. So I want to wish you Gemar Chatima Tova, Shana Tova, and all the best, and continue to do the good job.
Amen.
And Kol Am Israel, thank you.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Listen, let me just vinch back just to tell you, Agit Kvittel, Agit Gewenst dir. You're amazing. And I would just like to tell everyone that when the J donations to help going, I don't want to say that it didn't come in enough or very little, but I know out of your pocket and the little bit out of my pocket that I'm doing just mamish a penny, you got your entire life is I shouldn't say invested in this thing. You're an amazing person, and I know the money that you're giving, the time, and if I would even recommend people just to text, because it's easy to text to 347-927-8398. Just say for everything you're doing. I feel the recognition needs to come, and from my experience, from what I hear, Tainus people always have comments what to give, but I want to hear how amazing and how many people's lives were changed because of you and because of this program and the other shiurim that you have, the Rabbanim, the other therapists that you have for kids, the music when people are listening to From Music, it's all, they just put the app or they just call up to the phone line and they have it. So thank you. Git gebencht your and continue helping all of Klal Yisrael the way you've been doing it. Thank you for letting me be part of the program, part of the J-Root family.